Yo, what's up? I want to talk about the NBA or just sports media in general. Um, I've been always the type of guy to go up against what the media has to say. Um, I like to format my own opinion and thoughts on sports, especially sport that I have played. Okay, still currently playing. Um, Maybe it's just me, but I do honestly think that the media, ESPN, Fox Sports, these platforms are trying to brainwash people um, or force people to believe in certain things that's um, 100% not factual, right? Um, you guys heard me say I think LeBron James is one of the greatest basketball players of all time, right? But not the greatest. But you got these guys like Shannon Sharp or Chris Broussard, Nick Wright, man, the list goes on and on. Um, that try to shove something down your throat with no accurate proof to back it up. Um, Now, you get other players in the league that get no attention or no play at all. One of the perfect examples is Giannis Antetokounmpo. I mean, I try to talk about him as much as I can. I'm going to make more videos on him because I truly think he doesn't get the exposure that he needs. But yet we still keep talking about LeBron. Yes, LeBron is great, but not everything about basketball needs to be related to LeBron. You see this with all these fanboys, all these people that um, clickbait, you know, that try to get your attention that way. When I make YouTube videos, I've been doing this quite for some time now. It's been years. When I make YouTube videos, it's not for views or people's attention. It's just for me to get basketball out there or me to get my point of view out there for basketball. Whoever watches it, cool. If you don't watch it, then cool. You know, um, I'm not going away from my stance. Everything I say is my own objective opinion, and I try to back everything up with actual facts to them. You know, but I'm not telling people to stop listening to the Nick Wrights and all that stuff. But if you're gonna watch sports, be objective your own self. Do research on the game yourself. If you really truly love the game, why do you have to listen to what somebody else is telling you? Because if you listen to all these sports guys, they get paid millions of dollars to push an agenda. You know, it's gonna happen as years keep going by. When the media and the sports media is done with LeBron, they're gonna push the agenda on the next guy. Then I'm gonna have to be sitting here defending the next guy that's trying to tear down the legacy of a LeBron James. You know, just how do they pushing LeBron? They're at the same time they're trying to tear down the legacy of a player like a Michael Jordan, which I find currently really disrespectful. You don't have to make LeBron great by destroying Michael Jordan's legacy. And Michael Jordan's legacy is better than LeBron's. I don't understand how you could um, try to bash that, you know? That's like saying Jerry West has a better legacy than Jordan because he been to the finals more times. That doesn't mean nothing. You also lost more times, you know? Now, I purposely look at getting knocked out in the first round and losing in the finals more the same because if you don't win the championship, you don't win the championship. It doesn't matter how far you went. You know, if you get knocked out in the first round, it's no different from losing the championship. But I do understand there are some people that hold the championship even getting there to a different regard. You know, they figure if you're there, you're supposed to win, right? So if that's the case, then you still have to penalize guys that get to the finals and but lose at the same time. It's still being held on their record, right? I understand that, you know, but you also have to give them credit for the ones that they won, you know. Um, Jerry West still got one championship, even though it was, out of 9 attempts, right? LeBron still got 3, even though it was out of 9 attempts. So they're still all-time greats because they still managed to get the job done. Um, but that doesn't make necessarily make a LeBron better than Jordan just because you've been to the finals more times. What does that even mean? Um, every time I watch these sports media, they continue to degrade and lower the value of players from the past just to boost up players from today. And to a certain extent, you could sit there and say, hey, we're moving on with new times. This guy's better. I understand that. There are some guys that's playing in today's basketball that are better than guys from the past. But they are not necessarily better than some superstars that are considered top 5 all-time greats. And one of them is Michael Jordan. You know, the media always uses Michael Jordan as a measuring stick of greatness, right? You know, that's how you surpass this guy. But I also think you're doing both guys a disservice. You're doing LeBron a disservice by trying to make him be better than Jordan. When if he's a top 5 player, let's say you don't think he's better than Jordan, but he's a top 5, you got him at like number 4. That means only 3 guys in the history of basketball you think is better than LeBron. That's one hell of an accomplishment. Why do you have to be number 1? Okay? You don't have to be considered number 1 to be an all-time great, you know? And Jordan is the same way. There's a lot of Jordan stands and a lot of Jordan fanboys that try to go overboard in defending Michael Jordan. I don't go overboard in defending neither one of these guys. I like to put them in perspective. I have a set of rules that I go by. And my love for the game is being based on what these guys accomplished and what I've seen. You know, in 13 years of playing, I put Jordan's career over LeBron's 17 or 20 year. Now, if LeBron goes on to win 3 more championships, and let's say he ties Jordan, then we got a bigger argument. Then we could come back to the round table and talk about, you know, his place in history, and if that's more impressive than surpassing Jordan in that regards. But these guys have no respect at all, man. You got these guys like Nick Wright and these media that keeps pushing false agendas down people's throats, man. It's ridiculous. You mean to tell me you're gonna take let's say a guy like Kobe Bryant, you had the media disrespecting him, you know, just to boost up James Harden's greatness. You know, say, oh, he's a better scorer, he's this and that. No, man. No. Kobe played both ends of the floor. You know, James Harden's a great scorer, but yeah, it's easy to score a lot of points when you only play one end of the floor. You know, no disrespect to James Harden, but you can't compare James Harden to Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant's a champion. You have to hold champions in a higher regard than other superstars, because if you're doing that, then that degrades the value of winning a championship. What's the point of winning a championship if you're going to be compared to a guy that has no championships? That's pointless, because I remember the first time LeBron didn't have championships, the first thing you did to disgrace that man was to say he don't got no championships. You would say, oh, he's a ringless king, right? Or, you know, yeah, stats mean nothing, but because he got no championships. But now that he has championships, you go back to a different argument and say, oh, you know what? It's all about stats now. Make up your mind, man. You can't keep degrading people and pushing false narratives just to boost up your favorite player. This makes no sense. There has to be a criteria to what makes a player great. And that criteria has always been winning championships. Yeah, it's a team accomplishment, but if you're a superstar and you won a championship, being the number 1 guy on the team, you get the highest credit in the world for that. Period. A guy that has no championships, he's in the ringless category. You know? Doesn't care, but it doesn't matter about how much numbers you have, how much points you have. At the end of the day, it comes down to winning. And it all comes down to that championship. You know? Championships do matter. You know? I get somewhat irritated when people keep saying, you know, this guy doesn't have such and such, blah blah blah. That's why he don't get a championship. You could try to make a case for that, but at the same time, there's a lot of guys that have no championships that had more than enough chances of winning a championship, but they failed for some reason. Okay, why did these guys fail? It's because you just wasn't good enough. It's just simple as that. Can we just come down to that conclusion that you couldn't win a championship because you just wasn't that good to win a championship? You had more than enough chances. You had more than enough good teammates around you to win a championship. Stop using that narrative or that excuse that this guy doesn't have enough talent all the time, especially when they go to the finals or they move real high in the rankings of the playoffs, but end up coming up short. You can't do that, you know? That's all I wanted to say. I had a little rant that out. Peace.